want to hear your formal introduction. Mine always goes like this: Welcome to William Steel, True Crime and Steel Spotlight Television.
I don't think I got to like that, but we'll try. Welcome to Reality Rewatch. I am Julian. Um, I am excited about this first episode and this guest. He is the star of Inmate to Roommate Season 1. I have Mr. William Steel, True Crime.
Julian, unbelievable! This thing is taking off like a rocket ship, man. I'm pleased to be here. Happy to be on your first show, from what I understand, as far as your
Yes.
podcast goes. So everybody support Julian, and very grateful to be here, man. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. I think it's a
I
great
appreciate
start, especially for the new season that's coming up tonight. I'm excited. I'll be recapping those episodes from here, but you can't recap or talk about Inmate to Roommate season 1, 2, 3, or whatever without first starting with the star of season 1. I just want to dive a little bit more into like your background and how everything started.
When I was a young man, my mother put me in a burlap bag and beat me with a brick. That was just silly. From Brooklyn, New York, and my parents were good people. They were, my father was a very hardworking guy and law abiding, as opposed to yours truly. And my mom, she was mentally ill. She took some medication after I was born, and she got very, very sick from it. So all I've known as a child was visiting her in and out of psychiatric hospitals. So very, very troubling childhood, a lot of pain. Couldn't get my mommy out of the hospital, and I went to a security school. I learned to become a locksmith and a safe and vault technician, alarm technician.
Oh, wow. A very colorful background.
Yeah.
What were like the exact charges that you had at that time?
Well, there was a litany of ordeals with the law. Let's just say. So primarily, like burglary, grand theft, fleeing and eluding from the cops. I had a high speed chase with the police. Escaped from prison, ended up on America's Most Wanted website. So I've had an illustrious past. And using my skills, I stole millions of dollars in jewelry and artwork, and then we were running coke and stuff. I am not proud of my past, and my life today is about helping people by sharing my past. And then if you remember Mark, when I was getting out and I was making the jokes about his wife and where we were
Oh,
going when she picked me up,
yeah.
just kidding. I was just simply kidding.
Right.
He leaned against the thing, the stove, and he goes, I don't think this is going to work. Bill's not a rule follower.
Mm.
And the internet exploded. Like, what made you think that? His multitude of convictions and arrests, his prison escape, or was it his appearance on America's Most Wanted?
Right.
Bill's not a rule follower.
And honestly, when I saw it, that was when I knew I'm just like, okay, they don't have a sense of humor. He's already mad about this situation, which I feel like is for other reasons, which we'll get into a little bit later. You joking around and him mostly taking it way too serious. After being locked away for 18 years, you're having freedom. And so to see them like immediately try to shut that down, even from a joke of going to Disneyland, was when I was just like, okay, we need to ride for Bill. And
I
we
appreciate it.
did.
The same thing when she told everybody not to buy my book. I was so proud. My first book, I'm a published author. It has a salacious title because my co-author works with the National Enquirer. He's a writer there.
Hmm.
And he's like, how about Sex and the Serial Killer? I said, okay, let's go with that. But it became pretty good. And Nancy Grace covered it on her podcast.
Yeah.
And on Inmate to Roommate, Sean is telling people not to buy it. And then she wrote a fake review on Amazon.
Oh, I
And
saw
I was like,
that.
are you kidding me? The fans rallied and they've been looking out because, trying to earn an honest living.
Absolutely, because even from watching that episode, I was like, I have to get this book now. Like, no matter what, I need to
I
buy it.
appreciate it.
And I've heard nothing but like great reviews from the people
Thank
that
you
bought
for
it
that.
just to support you too. So,
Thank you for the support with the book.
yeah, absolutely. You do have this like, positive attitude about you.
I kept my positive attitude because the alternative was to be miserable and depressed all the time. And a lot of it actually is out of the Bible. I'm not perfect by any stretch, but a lot of it talks about the broad road, the narrow road, and all that. If the crowd was going one way in prison, I was going the other way.
Hmm.
If they're all going out to the rec yard, 600 of them at a time, I generally was going to the library, to the chaplain's office, to the law library. I spent over 18 years working in prison law libraries.
Oh,
So
wow.
just giving guys guidance, a lot of indigent guys, getting them into the Innocence projects. And that's one of the things myself and Mary do today. we work with people who are wrongfully convicted. I would tell them, you get one pass offering me drugs in prison. The second time, we have a problem. Then
Right.
you're not my friend. Because I just got done telling you all the crap it cost me, right? So I took college courses, university courses. I started writing books
Wow.
and screenplays and outlines for those. You can't get information in prison, so it's so hard. It might take me 6 months of begging friends and whatever. Gary Greenberg was very good in that regard. Tom Madden, he was the former vice president of NBC. He was a real good mentor of mine. We're still friends. He actually introduced me to Mary. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, and he was vice president of NBC TV in New York, and now he has transmedia public relations in Florida.
Wow.
And I started a PR firm now called Steal the Spotlight also.
Oh,
So
amazing. Just so many
yeah,
businesses coming out of you.
Mark and Shauna, they weren't happy unless I was working in Elkhart, where we filmed season one. Was a lot of RV factories. All the RVs you see on the road,
Uh-huh.
the factories are all over that town. But here I was coming out a little bit older. I do have the gift of gab. I have some, marketing and sales experience. I actually went to Barbizon acting and modeling school when I was a kid,
Oh,
so
hey.
I have decent communication skills, and I wanted to do this. I found out that I can make a living writing books,
Yeah.
screenplays, telling my stories, helping people,
Mm-hmm.
becoming a motivational speaker, and everything I wanted to do. They were like, against, oh, those are pipe dreams, those are no good, and I'm like,
Mm.
you guys are like, I think it came out on the show because of what they were wearing anyway. They're
Oh,
both,
yeah.
one's a CNA, one's a nurse, and all they ever did was shoot down my dreams and hold me back for months and months and months, where I had to really not get anything done there because I couldn't use the Wi-Fi in the house. They wouldn't give me the password. They
What?
wouldn't let me use. Oh, yeah, I was supposed to get an iPhone instead. They got me like a Samsung, uh,
Little track
pawn shop.
phone from, yeah. So they didn't even give you access to the internet? Like the what?
What you talking about,
Whoa.
Willis? Barely. There was barely. So yeah, there was a little, and then they had a glitch with their system, and
Mhm.
I got accused of hacking, and I'm like, hacking? I don't even have to like log in and send a text. I was
Right.
in a cave for 18 years.
That's the wrong
We have
cast
no
member.
phones, no internet. I never used email, never used text, never used social media. Now I'm on it all day long trying to figure it out. And you've been instrumental in helping me understand TikTok. But
Yes.
you know what you need to do? You need to take in an inmate and be on inmate to roommate.
Um, that is nice, but me and my one-bedroom apartment, I don't know we can my sofa's not that comfortable. Speaking of Sharna and getting into everything, how did you guys, like, meet? Because I know you guys have been, like, writing letters for so long, but I don't think we, like, understand, like, like, how that came about. Was it, like, a program where you reached out or she reached out?
But one day I was in my cell writing my screenplay, and I was laying around in my boxes, and I sent somebody peeking in the outside window at me. I was like, I'm just kidding, everybody. There's the different prison ministries that come into prisoners and or arrange for faith-based pen pals. And
Mhm,
generally, if they introduce you to somebody, it's very rare because nobody wants to be involved with prisoners, pretty much.
mhm,
We're all horrible and they're never going to change and all that nonsense. So it's very difficult to get people to write people. So this one program, they generally match male with male and female
mhm.
with female, so they avoid inappropriate language and all that nonsense.
Right.
And so in their case, it seemed Mark was writing nothing but females,
Oh.
and Shauna was writing males. And I was writing her as a pen pal for about, I think it was 6 or 7 years. Um,
Wow.
and we could say publicly platonic letters. We
Mhm.
can say that a lot of letters still exist. Um,
Ah.
and so yeah, so she was a friend, right? I
Mhm,
didn't think that she was developing like real feelings. I didn't think. I just thought it
mhm.
was just friendly talk, whatever.
Yeah.
She says, "Oh, he's got coarse manly talk because he's been in prison." I'm like, coarse manly talk. What era are you living in, right?
Right. When you were writing it, you probably didn't realize, but, like, since I'm assuming you still have the letters, if you look back on them, does any indicate anything, like, that could be now after seeing how everything was misinterpreted?
I'll tell you one of the more salacious ones. She was writing me that she wanted to,
Ah.
and I just couldn't believe it. Did our signal break up? What happened there?
I see we're gonna have to break in and get those letters ourselves.
I I can't hear you. I've got something in my eye. Hold on.
So Mark also had a pen pal too, right?
There's only so much I can say, but pretty much what you see with these people and what you get. Like with me, you see what you get because it was
Yeah.
genuinely a reality show.
So pretty much so after that, you got out and it was like the long drive back. You got into their place like pretty late. But also after that long drive was when they laid down the weird rules and all of the strict restrictions. So I can imagine not only were you tired, ready to like sleep in an actual bed, but seeing all of this.
If you look at me the first day out, I was exhausted. That first day of filming and getting out, and yeah, all I wanted to do was like a jacuzzi, a haircut, and like something good to eat and lay down for about a week. Right. The deal is, you got cameras, you signed a contract, and
Right.
and I'm like, Joe, I really got to lay down, man. I'm tired. I can't think straight.
It is pretty obvious. Like you were tired after the long drive, and now it's like a house tour. And not only the house tour, but your room.
What did you notice about the room? Like,
Now, even before they opened the door, I saw twinkle lights above the bed. I saw like the room was painted, the sheets on the bed, and then the rules were on a had a unicorn. Oh Lord. Are those the original?
this is them. These are what was on the wall. I made sure to keep them.
Wow. And honestly, a lot of those rules are personally offensive.
This is like, it's gigantic, number one, and we are putting out poster size ones and smaller size ones that I'll sell for with autographs on them.
I
You,
will
your
be the
people can
first to
send me
purchase.
messages over my different ways of reaching me. But yeah, I if you look how exhausted I was, and I was in disbelief. I hadn't even sat down yet or had a drink or anything, and I looked at it and I said, I scarcely know what to say.
Mark made that some because I remember the scene where he was sitting down at the computer typing it out, and I thought it would just be like a little printout. But the fact that he went to a print shop, printed in the biggest size ever, and put it up on the wall for a grown man.
Yeah, so there's that. I mean,
I know that kind of like stood out to where, okay, this is going to be like a weird situation. And, throughout the episodes, I've seen how everything was, but I know there are things that, either weren't filmed or, like you said earlier, that were cut out. Living with them off camera, was anything like different or like somewhat better or normal in a sense sometimes?
you must have not watched the show. I'd say in the very beginning, maybe there was a sense of normalcy. I was required to go to their church, Seventh Day Adventist, which wasn't cool for me because I'm just a
Oh,
traditional Christian. I'd rather go to non-denominational at this point in my life.
yeah.
I respected them in the household, so I was like, okay, I'll join you. It's on a Saturday, and I actually became friends with a few people there and their pastors, and they were not too happy about the way the reports they were getting, and not necessarily believing me because I wasn't a member of their church. But when they saw it play out on national TV, they
Oh.
weren't too happy about the way that I was treated. And in fact, they told their whole church that I'd be living there rent free as I got on my feet, and then they gave me this massive $2,700 bill, making me look like a deadbeat in a month. So I said,
Right.
I'll get on my feet. I'll pay the utilities and groceries, and thank you for the break on the rent, so I can save money to get out of here and get my own place. That was always the arrangement, and I don't know where the hell they presented that bill on national TV trying to make me look bad. The pastor, I said, look, would you tell A&E or whoever the powers are, or if this gets litigated in any way? He said,
Right.
absolutely. They came into our congregation and said it was a ministry house and they weren't going to be charging you.
Oh,
So
wow. Because I honestly don't feel like she was adding those charges up until your relationship with Mary started to come about. That's kind of when I noticed that there was like a noticeable shift in like the dynamics. Would you say that timeline is generally
didn't she was shocked. She said, I don't know how the heck he met somebody a few months before he got out anyway.
right?
I had told her, and she's already spoke to her. She agreed to let her come and live there, for a month or so with us, until we got on our feet,
Wow.
got our own place, and then she reneged on that, and then made us look like we were bad for pressing her on it, and that's
Right.
why I kind of was teasing her on the show. I said, she said, if you keep asking me for her to come here, that's harassment. I says, well, you're changing your mind all the time, it's harassment. So,
Honestly, your comebacks for everything. And I know it's so real because like you just got out, so you don't have any time to like prepare or see
no,
reality
no.
shows. But I'm just like the way
Everybody's
you
like, why was he crying? Why this? Why that? Well, if you remember, there's a place that I'm pretty sure it's on a trailer too, where he's like, it's not working out and this and that. And he goes, I'm sorry it went this way. And I was being some smart ass was him in a little bit. And I said, Mark, I said, why don't you just evict her?
Oh yeah. I
And
remember that.
he didn't know how to respond. Then at the end, boo hoo. And,
Uh-huh.
I can't speak to him, but I suspect it's because it finally dawned on him he was going to be all alone with Shauna again.
Oh yeah. I was like, he's probably crying because he wants to go with you.
Because in the beginning we tried to do interesting things together. He was trying to be a friend and all that.
Yeah.
Um, but I didn't like the way he behaved in public too much.
As a sole viewer, I feel like he felt guilty because he knew how horrible she was treating you. He just did what she said, but he was so torn because even when Alicia was there and was trying to like call like your parole officer and stuff like that, he was still like, I don't want to do that. So that's why I felt like he was starting to realize that what she was doing was wrong. But of course, it's two against him, so he has to join.
She had him wrapped for whatever reason. After they kept treating me like shit, excuse my language. After they stopped treating me like crap, when I was packing my suitcase to go to California, she came to my door, and that's when I said, "Oh, you go at my door again." And that's
Mm-hmm.
when I confronted her. You coming around dressed inappropriately when your husband goes to work? She turned beet red and started denying it. Of course, from that
And
moment forward, she made up her mind. Oh man, he's got to go
oh
because if
yeah.
I release what I really have to
Oh.
show all that, yeah. So my lawyer made sure I documented a lot. I said, look, I'm living with these people. She was my friend. It's going south real quick, and I'm getting paranoid. They're going to try to get me violated because they got this friend who seems like she's playing both sides of the fence. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't realize all she had to do was sit me down privately and say, "Hey, what's really going on? What's your side of things?" And he was strange in his own right, and I did try to be decent to them, and I do to this day appreciate the offer of hospitality. I didn't know it was
Yeah.
going to be met with like ridiculous rules, restrictions. Some of them were not related to their faith at all. I mean, like I had the neighbor holding my meat. Go figure. I mean, Sharon's like cameras are all around me, and I'm just chilling with the ice. And she walked out across the fence. Hey, Sharon, I'm enjoying some ice. They won't let me have ice over here. I found the ice machine, where they had it hidden from me,
Right.
and that you're still holding my meat. We're talking about literal meat, but it
Yeah,
just says
yeah. Which honestly, like this season is amazing because all of the former inmates have like a very powerful story and it's so
yeah.
interesting following along. But I feel like I'm like on the side more of like the former inmates. So we're
Well,
normally
some of the people actually were very well-meaning, like Artie. I got
I absolutely love her.
Artie was super nice, and we talked to her a few times on the phone, and but she wanted to. What was the guy's name? Javon.
Javon,
She
yeah.
wanted to get. She wanted to get with him in the worst way. Now, Did you notice when she was doing the dishes, like maybe a prosthetic or something?
Oh.
I was like, wait a minute. So she's going up the stairs, and dude's walking behind her going.
Right.
I said, where did that?
Where did that come from?
But Artie's a
That
wonderful person.
mhm.
Javon looked like maybe he was trying to do the right thing, but he was maybe playing her for a place to stay. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what was the other one? Oh, Dr. Henry. They thought he was going to be the big breakout star of this because he was very, very,
Really?
very strange in his own right. Well, if you look at the playlist on YouTube,
Yes.
there's 10
Yeah.
episodes. The playlist is 11 long, and the first one they put up is Henry, not me. The second I
Oh,
exploded in the ratings, like people like, holy crap, Bill's really funny
yeah.
or whatever.
Oh,
All the other
wow.
playlists is nothing but me, and the Henry's not even seen in them. But Henry, I think, really meant well to help
Mhm.
DQ. And I reached out to DQ. I tried
Oh,
repeatedly. I said, "Hey,
yeah.
man, I've been where you're at. I know the struggle. You want somebody to talk to. I'm participating in the same show as you,
Mhm.
and I know what it is to struggle, with addiction and the streets and all this stuff."
Mhm.
And he never got back to me. And now I understand from something that was publicized recently that he might be back in on a violation right now.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. So
Poor Henry's not streetwise at all. He's an educated
no.
doctor,
Yeah,
although
but
he's weird. So he would say direct things that was so true. But if you were a street guy, you'd probably get your ass, beat for saying
oh,
the things he
yeah.
said.
Going a little bit back with Alicia, because did you I know she was on the first episode and she had some thoughts, which before I met you, I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. Because how Shauna presented everything was very strange because she's like, I'm having issues with my marriage. So I've been reaching out to this male inmate for, so I was like, oh, okay.
And I didn't know that while she was reaching out to male inmates because of problems in her marriages. It wasn't the first, but I didn't know that. Her and I were friends until we sort of weren't. Alicia literally turned into like my worst nightmare when I was out because she had parole breathing down my back constantly for no reason,
Yeah.
listening to petty nonsense from the house and
Hmm.
trying to make parole violations issues. So she has a relative, I'll say it, her husband. Her husband was a parole officer.
Yeah.
So I found out afterwards that she'd done a lot of time herself. She had a female lover in prison. I think you even discovered that on your own
Oh
and
yeah.
didn't show about it.
Because I did some research and even found like the show that she was on a whole nother reality show. And so that's when I put two and two together of like, okay, it seems like
She's on that show. She's on that
yeah.
show kissing on this other woman, another prisoner, in confinement for having a relationship with a female, and yet
Hmm.
she's running around with a Bible on my show trying to get me put in prison for no reason, and I'm like,
Right.
"Alicia, you don't know the whole story. You don't know what
Hmm.
it's like to live with these people." Well, I really don't wish any harm on any of these people, and I tell my fans, "Don't pick on Mark and Shauna. They're just really weird." Because I think in the end, maybe they meant well, or maybe they didn't. I
Hmm.
don't know. But it
Hmm.
wasn't cool the way I was treated, and Alicia just shocked me. I mean, she
Yeah.
kept telling me she was raising these gift cards, like, to try to help me get on my feet from different organizations. She's, like, involved in, like, the recovery because she did a lot of time in prison herself. She kept telling me she's bringing me over these cards, that she had cards donated for me, gift cards to help me get some clothes I needed. I never saw the cards to this day. I don't know what she did with them. Then she was gonna bring me a bunch of clothes. Well, I said, "I don't really care because I don't go anywhere, and I'm living in middle America somewhere where, people don't dress like they do in New York." So she waited, I wanna say it was 6 weeks. She brought me about 5 or 6 black plastic bags full of clothes. She said, "Listen, if something doesn't fit, just donate it to another church, but here it is, I gotta run." She takes off, and when I opened it, every last thing in those bags was for, like, a little 6-year-old kid.
Stop.
I'm like a grown man, with some weight on me. I couldn't wear one thing Alicia bought, and she said she had been accumulating that stuff just for me. Like, I had to be real cautious about, like, if I was gonna report that because my parole officer worked with her husband, and my
Mm,
lawyer had to get involved in this. I said, "Look, this woman's trying to get me violated for no reason, and I could
right.
prove what she was gonna do for me, and she's never followed through." I just like I said, I wish these people the best, but she had no business doing what she did. I didn't even know that because until I saw the episode myself,
Hmm.
that when I was in California, she went to their house to try to get me violated and got a parole
Mm.
officer up on the phone. Well, just kick him out, and he'll be considered homeless, and we'll have to ship him back to Florida where he's doing his parole from Florida. Well,
That
what kind of there was no reason to violate me.
no.
I told Mark and Sean, I said, "Listen, the first night I was there, I am not trying to ever go back because it wasn't my first time in. I had gotten in trouble before. So if you have problems with me, if you think I'm getting high or stealing or doing the stuff I used to do, call the cops, call parole.
Hmm.
Any other issues in this house, I'm respectfully asking you, talk to me, sit me down, say, hey, you slammed the door or you used too
Yeah.
much toilet paper." But no, they agreed, but no,
Mm.
they would call the parole officer constantly to the point where I'm flying out to California. I land in Texas and my phone's blowing up and it's my PO. I didn't think I was going to make it back out of the airport. I thought they were going to, like, grab me again for something.
Right.
And so I landed with a lot of fear and trepidation. I called the PO. I said, "Is everything okay? Am I in trouble or something?"
Hmm.
And he says, "No, no, 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 no. You got to do me an effing favor." I said, "What's that, sir?" He said, "The second you get back from that trip, get the hell out of the house. Those people are crazy. They call me for everything.
Oh my god.
My side of things is you don't know me from Adam, but I'm legitimately trying to do the right thing in that house, and they're just weird as hell.
Right.
They're just really weird. I just say, like, yeah, they're weird. It's not me. Like, it's them. It's
Because I've seen like
weird.
all like the home videos that you had of everything where I'm just like, okay, I can tell you're like recording everything, that I'm sure there are way more things that
A lot.
did not get either submitted or aired. Once this NDA is up, we need to release a tell all. Because one of the most epic videos that came across the screen was you and all of the toilet paper, which my first question is, where did all of that come from?
I was given some guidance that because I had a very high end iPhone, that
Hmm.
if I shot something on there and it was really interesting, something I did or came across something interesting, and they weren't in town filming, just
Hmm.
do it on my iPhone and send it to them. They'll decide if they use it or not. So I met a guy. He turns out to be an alleged serial killer. He's actually in prison now,
Oh.
but he's one of the wealthiest people in Elkhart at the time. I met him by coincidence, and he found out my story and that we're filming. He's, oh, I really believe in your journey, and I'll help you in every way I can. And I'm like, yeah, right. This guy said, I'm tired of hearing about them counting your toilet paper in that house because they just lived a few blocks away. Here, go in my garage. I got cases of it there, and he gave me this massive case of toilet paper. And I waited for him not to be home, and I got it down there and struggled with it because it weighed about 1,000,000 pounds.
Right.
And so I put pyramids of toilet paper in all the rooms, like the laundry room, the bathrooms. And then I went, Mark, Shauna, that's it. I'm leaving. Here's your damn toilet paper back. When you get divorced and your next spouses wonder why there's so much toilet paper in the house, tell them what a wonderful guy I was.
I was not expecting.
Mark, I was getting kind of offers on the side too when I was pursuing other things. And so Mark was like, hey, when you go to California, for book signing or for something with Durst, can I be your bodyguard, and this and that? And I'm like, are you
What?
kidding me, dude? I said, people will pick on me more if you're hanging out with me.
Right. Kind of wrapping everything up. I guess the biggest wrap up question I have is looking back, if you could redo everything, still with the show, knowing how everything would play out with them now, would you do it again? Or would you do it with them again or someone else?
I actually would do it again. I mean, my deal was that I could be myself, talk about my faith, my books, check out my
Hmm.
books. People felt bad for me when they were worried about my well being with these people. They would say, Bill, go back to the prison. Tell the warden you want back in. Those people are nuts. Right? So, you know what I would say to them and to Mary and everybody who was really, really concerned about me?
Hmm.
I would say, do you realize the type of people I live with in prison? Sometimes you don't have a choice who your cellmate is.
Oh, yeah.
If I could deal with all those clowns and people trying to steal from you and do weird stuff, you think Goofy or Mark and Sean are bothered me? Man, I prayed for them on the one hand, I laughed at them on the other hand.
Had they like reached out to you since you moved out or?
They talk so much crap about Mary. I didn't even know her.
Hmm.
She's a French accountant. She's a brilliant woman. One time when she finally came out to Elkhart, we happened to run into him. He was coming out of a pharmacy, and we were going in. And I said, "Hey, Mark, how you doing?" We hadn't seen him for a few months. And then Mary said, "Hey, Mark, I'd like to talk to you." He took off on a sprint to his vehicle.
What?
Started filming him. He was getting in his Jeep. I'm like, what a coward. She just,
Yeah.
yeah, she probably wanted to, talk to him or tell him off or whatever. But run from a woman who's like, 2 foot tall and with me, I'm not going to let anything happen. She's not that
Yeah.
type of woman anyway.
That answers that question. I'm super glad that you were able to survive that experience and on top, at least too. And,
It's not over yet. Stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say.
I am more than sure this is not the last that we will see you on any of our TV screens.
Please, everybody, check out William Steele True Crime on YouTube, and I'll be in a movie called Silent Partners this summer.
Yes, because I wanted to
And
get into like, oh, I was going
another
to say,
one's a
because I
pretty.
wanted.
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say because I wanted to get into like the other projects that you're working on now, and some you have out now, and some are coming out soon that you can talk about.
Movie offers are coming in. Not
Wow.
big things, they're small, because I'm really
Hey,
a nobody, but I do have tens of millions of fans somehow.
you
But if I
do.
could figure out how to move them over to right here to William Steel True Crime, I've accomplished something. Jump over to YouTube and subscribe over there. It's free.
Yes.
That's where I really need you.
I'm glad that I was finally able to talk with you. You would be surprised at the amount of comments and messages that I get every day of like, where's Bill? How's Bill? Have you talked to Bill? You guys need to collab. You need to talk. So I'm glad that we're able to have this.
Uh,
I'm grateful that you are gracing the first episode to my
Listen,
podcast.
you know who you have to have on? I love that pinned to the front, the Fatty Fats from England show,
Oh,
and the Fatty
yes.
Fats are.
Oh, I definitely need him. That's for sure. That show, fun fact, is what kind of started me with like the whole blow up with like reality, well, reviewing reality shows because I didn't know that show existed.
But he'd give me a shout out,
Oh
and
yeah.
if you don't follow Bill, you must be a fatty fat. This Bill's kind of fat. Follow Bill.
As always, I'm super grateful and I can't wait to see everything else that you have coming up. You are truly a star. We will
It's all
follow
good.
you on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
Please subscribe, everybody, and leave some comments. Comments are critical too. It all drives what they call algorithms. I've been studying this stuff like a science, like crazy.
Well, thank you, Bill.